The Super Bowl is the annual championship game of the National Football League, the NFL, in the United States. It's one of the most watched and highly anticipated events in American culture, and it's considered the biggest event in American sports. The history of the Super Bowl is a story of the evolution of the NFL and its rise to become the most popular and lucrative sports league in the entire country. The first Super Bowl was played in 1967. It was known as the AFL-NFL World Championship Game. At that time, the NFL and the American Football League were two separate leagues, and the Super Bowl was the culmination of a merger agreement between the two leagues. The first Super Bowl was played on January 15th, 1967, between the NFL's Green Bay Packers and the AFL's Kansas City Chiefs. The Packers won the game 35-10. The early years of the Super Bowl saw a number of memorable moments and iconic performances. The game was known for its high-scoring affairs and exciting finishes. In Super Bowl III, the New York Jets, led by quarterback Joe Namath, shocked the heavily favored Baltimore Colts with a 16-7 victory. Namath famously guaranteed the win before the game, and his performance solidified his place in NFL lore. In the 1970s, the Super Bowl began to take on a life of its own. The game was now being broadcast on television. It was becoming a cultural phenomenon. The 1970s saw the emergence of some of the greatest teams in NFL history, including the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls in the 1970s, while the Cowboys won 2. The decade was also marked by a number of memorable performances, and Lynn Swann's acrobatic catches in Super Bowl X. The 1980s saw the rise of the San Francisco 49ers, who won 4 Super Bowls in the decade. The 49ers were led by quarterback Joe Montana, who won 3 Super Bowl MVP awards, and wide receiver Jerry Rice, who is widely considered one of the greatest players in NFL history. The decade also saw the emergence of the Chicago Bears, led by Mike Ditka, and their defensive mastermind, Buddy Ryan, as their defensive coordinator. They won Super Bowl 20, and who can forget the cast of characters that made up that team? There was Refrigerator Perry, the punky QB Jim McMahon, Sweetness Walter Payton, Mike Singletary, Richard Dent, and the list goes on and on. And who can forget the iconic Super Bowl Shuffle? The 1990s saw the emergence of the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers as the dominant teams of the decade. The Cowboys won 3 Super Bowls, while the Steelers won 2. This decade saw the rise of the Buffalo Bills, who made 4 consecutive Super Bowl appearances, but lost all 4. The Denver Broncos also took center stage, winning back-to-back Super Bowls, led by quarterback John Elway. The 2000s saw the New England Patriots emerge as the dominant team of the decade. The Patriots won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, led by quarterback Tom Brady and head coach Bill Belichick. They went on to keep winning. Other winners, though, included the Baltimore Ravens, who won Super Bowl 35, and then the Philadelphia Eagles and the Philly Special. But the Super Bowl experience is more than just the game. There's also the halftime show, which features some of the biggest names in music. The halftime shows have featured acts like Michael Jackson, Madonna, Beyoncé, Bruce Springsteen, U2, and many more. It's interesting to note that today's halftime show was not always part of the Super Bowl. The first halftime show was a traditional marching band performance in Super Bowl I. And of course, there are the commercials that air during the game, which are often considered to be the best and most expensive commercials of the year. There's a two-way tie for the most expensive Super Bowl commercial of all time between Google and Amazon. They both paid $16.8 million for their 90-second spots. One interesting fact about the Super Bowl is that it has the highest TV ratings of any program in the United States, where people gather to watch the game and eat and drink with friends and family at Super Bowl parties. Also, the Super Bowl is often used as a platform to make social and political statements, with many notable figures and celebrities attending the game and the events surrounding it each year. The Super Bowl brings families and friends together each year, and maybe they're cheering for their team, or maybe they're cheering to see who wins the propositional bets on how long the national anthem lasts, or whether it's heads or tails. And at the end of the game, what color is that Gatorade going to be, poured over the winning coach? No matter why you watch, for all of the reasons we've talked about today, and even the ones that you're thinking about that we didn't talk about, the Super Bowl is a memorable experience, and it's a moment in time that people can remember forever. Thanks for watching Memory Mountain. If you enjoyed this video, please click to subscribe to our channel and hit that thumbs up button. Be sure to tap the notification bell so you'll be one of the first to know when we post our next story looking back over the landscape of Americana.